Hello guys, what is going on, and welcome to a video which is sort of like a sequel to my video I did last week where I unboxed volumes 1 to 20 of Bakuman. So yeah, what I'm going to do like a type of review, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'm going to start off with non-spoilery and then head into spoiler later. Don't worry, I will tell you when I do it. So to start off with, I really loved the main characters. I thought them two together as a pair really brought out the best in each other, and I thought overall, like, their ambitions were believable, and you really wanted them to succeed straight away. Like, when I bought the complete set, I only read the first manga, and yet me wanting to see them succeed straight away made me want to buy them all. And it's great to be like along for the journey. Like, you kind of know the destination already, but just being able to read along is just amazing to see how they get there and what barriers are in the way, and it's really, really cool. So that's one of the main reasons why I bought them all. Secondly, if you didn't know already, the people that made Death Note also made this, so if you love Death Note, then there is absolutely no reason not to give this a try. It is absolutely... You can tell, even if you didn't know, that it was made by the same people. The art style is incredibly similar. It's very heavy dialogue. Like, it took me about 2.5 hours to read each volume, when usually something like One Punch Man would take me about like 10 to 15 minutes to read, and like Haikyuu would take me maybe like 40 minutes per volume. So like, this was definitely had a lot of dialogue. And if you love that sort of stuff, then this is great for you. Usually with a story like this, where you, like I said, you already know destination, maybe like halfway through you can kind of get bored. But what happened is that there's one massive arc, then there's 2 or 3 arcs that last from like near the start to like pretty close to the end, and then there's loads of little like basically every volume there's one like arc that lasts the entire volume, as you would expect. But you always go back to the bigger arcs and you see how that progresses, and that's really cool. But you never really get bored of any volume, because like, you're not waiting for something to happen. Something is already happening while other stuff in the background is like making progress. So you're not waiting for it because you're preoccupied with something else. However, I would like to stress that there is one arc, which I'm not going to name the character of, I will name it obviously in the spoilery part, where I really thought, like, wait a second, they do big arcs, maybe this is redeemable, because maybe this character will be here, then it'll go away, then it'll come back again, and they'll be like, oh, that's why it was like that the way that it was in the beginning. Because now he's like an actual like threat, or he's actually like an amazing character to read and be really entertaining, but he wasn't. That's all I have to say, and that's why. Well, I'll talk about a rating I'm going to give later on. That's why it's not higher than what it is. That's one of the main reasons. So to start off with, I might as well talk about the character that I was sort of like talking about vaguely. It's Nanamine, if that's how you pronounce it. I'm pretty sure it is. Like, 1 second, you might be able to hear it. I've literally got Google Translate open right now, because I have no idea how to pronounce most of these names. It's just a name that I have in my head that I use when I read, obviously. So yeah, Nanamine was an absolutely shocking character. Like, his motives to begin with were like kind of cliche, but that cliche is fine. The problem I had was he tried something. Like, he tried like using a bunch of people together to come up with an idea, and then he pretty much tried the same thing again. But you could say it was better. Like, I would say it was definitely like a better way to do it. It just didn't work, and then he just gave up, and nothing happened after that. It's like they had the character and they wanted to do something with him, and then they just sort of gave up. Like, the writers themselves halfway through, and just like, nope, don't like this character. Just say he failed, and then we'll get rid of him. That really annoyed me. Nakai, the really fat editor who got really fat and fatter and fatter and fatter, and then started to lose a bit of weight, and then the story ended kind of there. I really hated him. I mean, you're supposed to hate him, but then this is really strange. They make him incredibly unlikable. Like, he's like just disgusting to look at, and he acts terrible in front of people and stuff like that, and you really don't want to root for him. And then they sort of like try and make you feel sorry for him. I could never feel sorry for a character like that, and yet they try and do it, and then they bring him back. I mean, the way it left was like, oh, we could try and convince him to stay even further, but we don't want to anymore. You know what I mean? Like, that's what the characters basically came to, like that agreement that no, we're just gonna let him go. We don't want him anymore. And I'm like, yes, that is exactly how I feel. And yet they brought him back, and I really hated that character. Like, that was the worst part of this. Apart from Nanamine, I really hated this guy as well. Them two were by far the worst part about this manga, and there's so many positives. So let's get into that, I guess. So if you remember, like I said at the beginning, they really use arcs, large arcs. Well, one arc being the Nizuma. Is that how you pronounce it? Nizuma. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong yet again. His sort of like big arc with him at the beginning saying that that he would want to end a manga at the beginning when he gets like to become the most popular artist in Jump, and I didn't know the twist like that it was gonna be like he's gonna end his own series until about like a few volumes beforehand, and I'm like, because the reason why is because I completely forgot about it more than anything. They mentioned it at the start, then they never mentioned it again until like 10 volumes later, maybe even more. Like they just, it's like they forgot about it. But then like they brought it back around, and then it made sense, made a lot of sense. He wanted to be the best artist in Jump, and he wanted to stay that way. He didn't want to get beat, and he wanted to end on top. And he should deserve to do that because he can pretty much will Crow like to be consistently top no matter what. So it's like he's kind of like the Sherlock of this manga, if anything, because he can predict where people's rankings are going to be, and that's why like they did a popularity. They do sometimes like popularity contests of like the characters, and I think it was volume 13 where they did one, and he was there. He was number one, and for obvious reasons, he's just so cool. Just to round things off, I would like to say that, like I said at the beginning, the motivations for the characters was definitely clear, and it was definitely something that I could get behind, and like I said, that's why I bought them all at once. And for a rating, like I said, because the two characters that I really hated, and they spent quite a lot of time on actually, and then brought back them, I will give it an 8 out of 10. Not perfect, but it's definitely up there. An incredibly enjoyable read. Highly recommend it, especially if you love Death Note. If you love Death Note, it's like a 10 out of 10 because that's exactly what you need after a story like that. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I shall see you next one. Goodbye.